Here's the thing, when people hear humanoid robots in a factory, they usually picture a staged demo where the robot carefully picks up a box and basically everyone just claps because it's picked up a box, and then it's back in the lab for 6 months. But CATL is now claiming something much more specific, that they have put an embodied AI humanoid robot onto a very real battery pack production line at scale, quote, doing one of the annoying, risky, repetitive jobs that humans have traditionally had to do. And if that's accurate, it's not just a fun headline, it's actually a signal about where battery manufacturing is heading and why China's industrial advantage keeps compounding every year. Let's jump into this. So CATL said this system is now operational at its Zhongzhou facility, which is at their Zhongzhou production base in Liaoyang, and it's in a place called Henan province. The core claim is that this is the world's first large-scale implementation of humanoid robots in new energy battery pack production. This is the first we've seen this. Now, the world's first bit is obviously marketing language, and I can't really independently verify every factory on Earth, of course, but what we can verify is that CATL and multiple outlets are saying the robot is doing, where it's deployed, and the performance metrics that they are claiming. So the robot is described as a humanoid robot, which is called Xiaomo in reporting, and also the second name that some people have called it is Moz in others. Not really so sure why. The developer is said to be Spirit AI, and it's a Hangzhou-based company founded in 2024 last year, and backed by CATL. CATL, basically one of the biggest funders of that company. Now, what is it actually doing? That is a very important bit. So the robot is deployed in the end of line and direct current resistance testing process. Basically, the final functional checks before battery packs leave the production line, and also one of the painful parts of that workflow is physically connecting test plugs carrying high voltage to battery packs. And reporting is clear that workers previously had to do this manually, and that it carries very, very high risks like high voltage arcing and sparks, plus variability in speed and consistency depending on the workers, and also like the fatigue, and they have to have tea breaks and that sort of stuff. CATL's claim is that the humanoid robot can precisely plug in the high voltage connectors, detect whether harness connections are correct, report anomalies in real time, and even switch into an inspection mode during breaks in the line. And this isn't being pitched as, you know, it can do everything a human can do, but it is being pitched as it can do this specific bottleneck task reliably. So I think by the end of this video, you'll have a really good understanding of what all this really is, because there are some misconceptions in the media. But yeah, this is actually the more believable version of humanoid deployment, because factories don't really need a robot to do, you know, parkour or walk like a dog or anything. What they need is it to do one boring step, but 10,000 times a day, reliably, almost, you know, 100% accurately every single time. So let's talk numbers, because CATL, generally speaking, they give numbers out, and the numbers are pretty correct. So they're claiming a connection success rate of above 99%, so I guess they can't say 100, but it's probably, I don't know, 99.6 or something like that. They're also claiming the cycle time matches that of a skilled human worker, and then there is also the line that everyone will repeat, of course, which is CATL says robots' daily workload is triple that of manual labour, because it can run continuously and doesn't take breaks. It can do this every single day, 24 hours a day. Now, triple is a very big claim, and it does depend on how they're counting workload across shifts. But the underlying idea is very, very simple. If a line is running multiple battery models and you've got consistent EOL testing, the ability to keep a station operating with fewer stoppages is well, it's worth real money, and it's definitely worth investing in. The other technical detail that matters is the brain. So the robot is described as using an end-to-end vision language action, or VLA, model. And the practical meaning of that in a factory context is it can perceive everything that's going on around it. It can perceive the environment and what it's looking at, interpret the task constraints and adjust all of its motion in real time. So if, for example, a connector position is slightly off or a harness is flexing slightly differently, it can still complete the job without smashing the parts or banging them together like a plonker or something, and or just failing the test. So CATL also says it modulates force dynamically when inserting or removing flexible wiring harnesses to avoid damage while still getting a reliable connection. So that's the kind of detail that tells you that this is aimed at actual industrial tolerance issues, not a demo. That's hence why it's now in an actual production line. So I want to zoom out because the bigger story here is, I think, what this does to battery production economics. Now, of course, we can have cars that have slightly different panel gaps, and we can have a car have a door handle that might possibly be a little bit sticky and just not positioned correctly, but we can't have any issues with batteries. They're very complex, very big, very expensive, and they have to be millimeter precise. So robots in this context is brilliant. I'm definitely all for it. CATL is already the biggest battery supplier globally, and the one data point that China EV Post referenced from SNE research is that CATL had 355.2 gigawatt hours of EV battery installations from January to October, which is up 36.5% from 260 gigawatt hours in the same period the year before, and held 38.1% global market share in that window, with November China installations actually cited as 40.87 gigawatt hours and 43.71% share in China. So again, those are industry tracking numbers, but they matter because they explain why CATL is the kind of company that can actually afford to productize weird automation first when you're pushing hundreds of gigawatt hours, shaving fractions of a percent of defects and downtime, and just incrementally just nudging efficiency up. That becomes a huge deal. And the other implication is safety. And if the task is genuinely high voltage connector handling, where arcing risk really does exist, then a robot doing it definitely makes sense, even before you talk about wages or anything like that. This is how automation usually creeps in, not because it's it's interesting or it's cool or it's a flex or something weird, but because it removes a risk and stabilizes a process that was otherwise quite, it's quite horrendous. So, and it makes output more predictable, or it gets rid of problems in the factory. So in a pack line, predictability is basically everything, because you're trying to avoid rework, avoid repairs or glitches or issues, avoid warranty returns, avoid delays, and avoid that nightmare scenario where a bad connection slips through and then becomes a thermal or electrical fault in a year's time when it's in a car somewhere in a car park. And with better pack building, there are layers of complexity layered on top of each other, and it's very hard to reverse those or repair without costing a lot of money. And it isn't CATL's business model at all to do that and to repair things like this. So they are more about mass production, pretty much 100% efficiency and accuracy, and then get products out, and they are just, very good products. Hello folks, just a quick pause here. My name is Ben Alexander. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I make videos every day. You're very welcome to subscribe. I really appreciate your time. I have a few channel members. These are the channel members. These are the brilliant people that make it happen, and they support the channel, and they buy me a coffee, Patreon, join as YouTube members. Thank you very much. Let's just carry on. So now, I'll be honest, when I read this stuff and I watch videos on this and that sort of thing, I don't think, oh, robots are coming. This is terrible. Humans are buggered. No one's going to have a job. I'm watching it thinking, this is another example of Chinese industrial scaling. Even if this specific humanoid only does one specific job, plugging in a connector or something like that, or for DCR testing, then once it works, you copy it across lines, then across factories, then across international borders and supplies and that sort of stuff. And that's exactly how you end up with lower costs and higher consistency. Consistency, completely underrated as a word, brilliant in this context. You really do want consistent batteries. It's pretty much one of the most important things in a car. While everyone else is doing pilots and stressing about other things, CATL are actually putting these things in production lines. So I think this is also why we should be very, very careful with the narrative. You know, a humanoid robot does not magically make a battery cheaper overnight at all. The big costs are still cells, materials, yield, capex, energy, logistics, things like that. But if you can remove one stubborn bottleneck station that needs skilled labour and has safety risks, you can improve throughput and also reduce defects. And in mass production or mass manufacturing, throughput plus yield is basically king, from my understanding, after having talked with the CEO of a very big Chinese company earlier this year, actually. Now, where this gets really interesting for EVs outside of China, say like Australia, the UK, Europe, and obviously there's 730, 40 or something like that million people in Europe, but the UK is the largest, the country that buys the largest amount of vehicles from Germany, for example, every single year. Very big market in the UK for buying lots of cars. Now, where this gets really interesting for EVs outside of China, Australia, UK, and other parts of Europe, is that the battery price war isn't just chemistry anymore. It's really gone beyond that in this last 6 to 12 months. It's process. People talk about LFP versus NMC or sodium ion, silicon anodes, whatever it is. There's a lot of things we talk about. But the boring truth is, at this point, the company that manufactures with the fewest mistakes in the biggest scale as well, and I suppose there's an element of business wit as well, and they have the fewest stoppages and the most stable quality wins. And if CATL can industrialize embodied AI robots into pack production, that's not just a robotic story, I don't think. That's a really, that's a future cost curve story. That in the next 3 years, this will be a big deal. CATL, their market share is growing, actually steadily, which is a brilliant thing because they are really great. And there's another layer. CATL is saying these robots are powered by CATL batteries, and Spirit AI is inside or closely tied to CATL's ecosystem. So if you own the battery supply and you optimize, you can optimize the robot's power system. If you own the deployment environment, you can train the model on real factory data. That feedback loop, incredibly, it's very hard to copy if you're a smaller producer. So that's why these companies can do this. They've got extra data, basically. So what should we watch for next? For me, I think there are 3 things that we should really keep an eye out for. I'm getting to the end of the video, so thank you for sticking with me. It's a long one, this one. First, does CATL expand this beyond one base and one task? Right now, the reporting is specifically about Zhongzhou and about DCR related tasks and EOL and high voltage connector operations, things like that, where there's an element of danger and arcing and stuff. If we later see it doing material handling, pack assembly steps, visual inspections, or repetitive fastener work across multiple sites, then we're moving from what I would say is like a headline deployment to the new normal. Second, do we get hard evidence of reduced defect rates or improved line uptime? This is really what I spend my time talking about, and when I'm not doing my videos, this is what I'm doing. This is how I research this stuff, and I speak to these companies constantly, most days of the week. CATL talks about reducing defects and reporting anomalies, but I want to see quantified improvements over time with some evidence. And because I generally use only highly evidence or fact-based information. So yeah, because that is where the real industry story really is. Otherwise, it's just, kind of hysteria and internet hype, really, and I'm not really into that. Third, what does scale actually mean in this context with this? So even if it's dozens of robots across multiple lines in one factory, I would say that this is meaningful. But if it's one line with several units, still that's quite meaningful, but it's not the same as every CATL factory on Earth is now humanoid run. That would be a very big deal. So just keep your skepticism dialed to the correct level. I should say, take it seriously, but don't turn it into like a sci-fi thing or anything like that, because it's not quite there. It's really not. This is the real world. And it's basically about money juggling, really, and spinning different plates. So okay, let me wrap it up. So CATL is basically saying we've taken embodied AI out of the demo stage and put it into a real battery pack production line, doing high voltage connector work in final testing with a claimed 99% connection success rate. human level cycle times and triple daily workload thank you to continuous operation. The robot is tied to Spirit AI, backed by CATL and deployed at the Zhongzhou base in China. If that holds up and it spreads and goes to further afield, it's another quiet reason battery production in China keeps getting faster. Yeah, sadly, the rest of the world is kind of falling behind actually, and more consistent as well in China. They're getting more consistent, and this would be a good sign of that. And that matters for every EV brand on earth for multiple reasons, cost, efficiency, reliability and longevity and things like that, because most of them really do rely on this supply chain in one way or another. So it needs to be a really strong chain, I should say. So I want to ask you two specific questions. One, maybe this is an easy one, but do you actually want to see more humanoid robots in factories? If not, why not? And obviously beyond, well, because no humans are going to have jobs, because it's a much more complex and nuanced thing than that, even if it means fewer jobs for humans. And two, if you were a legacy automaker watching CATL do this, what is your response? Do you invest in your own automation stack, or do you just accept that you're going to be buying from them and they're the best and they can really help you have the best product, but you have to pay a bit of a premium for it and try to compete elsewhere, which is potentially what Toyota have been doing, some would say. I read all the comments and I'm always interested to see what you all think. Thank you very much for watching.